Continuing where we left off with Lumin talking to George and Mo and getting really angry, Lumin just burst out with all this rage. Mo's trying to protect himself and George with the shield that he's got, but Lumin uses the Rage Blast, which is much more powerful than a normal energy wave, and breaks through Mo's shield. However, Mo does manage to escape in time with George, and they leave the ship, the Usurper, George's most favorite ship, right before the Starshifters break through the hull from outer space and start tearing the place up, eating things, running around, breaking stuff, all sorts of stuff. And Lumin goes up to talk to one of them, but he senses an energy he hasn't felt before somewhere on the ship, and he wants to go check it out. So he tells the Starshifters, communicating with them, to just take it all down. Take it all. Don't leave anything behind, not even people. Lumin, at this point, he wants to show people that they should not come after him. He doesn't want them to come after him. So he's doing everything he can to be the bad guy here. He really is. But he thinks that they deserve it as well. They have been controlling him. He doesn't want to be controlled anymore. There's a couple levels of Starshifters here. There's your little guys who are just the normal Starshifters. I've probably explained what they do. You got the big Starshifter here, which is in front. They're about 10 feet tall. And then you have the huge Starshifter. The names don't seem that imaginative, but they don't need to be when these things are coming at you. You don't really have time to name them. Just, wow, that one's big. Wow, that one's huge. Though I don't have a boss Starshifter here, but they are like Daikaiju. They're ginormous, and they're tearing up the place. The huge one was drawn by my brother Shang way back in the day. So Lumin, while looking for this energy, is blasting down doors, flying through corridors, blowing stuff up, just having a time with it. He encounters some of the Georgia Special Forces and blows them up too. He's trying to draw out this energy that he feels, which he does find, and it's Botos. After getting his arms ripped off, he has some new cybernetic implants with some skin grafts over them to match his now very, very pale skin, because he did technically die and was brought back to life by Sir Clayton. And here he is. He has been training and basically being brainwashed by George in order to be this superior guard that's supposed to take over Lumin's job anyway, or take out Lumin if Lumin ever went rogue, which is this moment. So he attacks, but Lumin's too clever, shifting through ceilings and floors, but Botos bursts through and follows him. And these panels, I didn't really depict the fight as much as it really was. Probably would have lasted about 5 minutes, showing that Botos can handle the fight, although Lumin does have an advantage. Also punching through floors, punching all the way through. But the whole fight is interrupted when Job tries to hit Lumin but barely scratches his face and still causes him to bleed, which is that moment that you should realize that Job has something very, very special going on. He can make Lumin bleed. Lumin at this point is supposed to be the demigod status. He's supposed to be like this impenetrable thing. But Job does have god-killing powers, and we'll see that later, that this is the hint to his god-killing powers. And Lumin sees Job protecting Botos, finally realizes who Botos is, and doesn't want them to die. So he takes them off of the ship and flies them to the nearest planet, which is the planet Sun, which is Shang's planet. And Shang is now here watching Lumin land on there. Shang has come back from the dead world, this time legit though. I don't really have to explain that. It was sort of a technicality. Shang just convinced that Hexel that his contract was void. But here he is seeing Lumin. He knows that Lumin is responsible for the destruction of the system that he was on when he lost his totem body. and he thinks that Gadian was still on the system when this happened, so he is assuming that Lumin is responsible for Gadian's death. Plus, they have a history. So Shang decides there's a train outside. You're probably not picking that up. So Shang decides that Lumin is gonna have to pay for this, and he starts beating him up now that he's got most of his power back. That since this is his real body and not the totem, and he's beating Lumin up, and he puts him in this choke, which is very reminiscent of their first encounter. But Lumin doesn't recognize this as their first encounter. He knows who Shang is and he knows what he's done, but he's a different person. He was a different person when they fought, when he took over his brother's body, and he was a different person before he died all those times ago, and he's a different person now. His personality's been warped by everybody he's ever taken. Shang realizes this, lets him go, but won't let him go without fulfilling the debt that he now owes for Gadian's death. So he makes Lumin work for him. Shang's trying to take down Sir George. Lumin wants to take down Sir George, and they're going to work together. Lumin accepts, knowing that he will have more freedom, even though he's doing some things here and there for Shang. And that is where it ends. This episode, this two-parter episode. We will return in July with the King Plan. I'll probably post some origin videos in between this, so go watch those. Goodbye.